this project that I'm doing today, I want hot water, and like I've said in a couple other videos, I like having backup for the backup. So I'm using propane to heat the hot water. I've got a water tank on the back of the stove. I'm not too happy with it. It's an EPA stove, and being an EPA stove, it actually doesn't get that hot on the outside. So what I was gonna do, I was gonna get copper pipe and wrap it around the stove pipe and have it siphoned from a tank mounted on the wall, go around the stove pipe and just keep going back and forth. Well, one, siphoning makes noise. This is a small tiny home cabin. I would hear that siphoning going on all night. That would keep me up. I'm a pretty light sleeper. Then I discovered this product, and I'm going to install it. This is for heating water for saunas. So the way it works, it's pretty straightforward. This goes just to the stove pipe, and then you fill it full of water. Here's the secret. You just got a lid. This lid, if it gets too hot, I don't have to worry about overpressuring. The lid will come off. That's the end of that. And then we have a spigot. And I love the design. It's got a ball valve, tight. That'll always be watertight. That'll mount right there, and I've got hot water. So here's the part I'm dreading. I've already got this wood stove running. It's running perfect. Now I've got a little bit of creosote built up in the stovepipe. I'm hoping it's going to come loose. You may see me get a saw. I've never installed one of these. We're going to install these together. So let's see how it goes. I might wind up destroying everything, but my loss is your gain, and we'll figure out if this works or not. We're at the next step, and of course it's always easier to do a new install than this is actually going to be a remodel. Everything's kind of glued. This is a telescoping pipe, but with all the creosote, I might as well just welded it all shut. I'm not going to need this section anymore. It'd be nice if I could save it, but I can't. A hot water heater will go here, and this will give me room to where I can take things apart. So I'm just going to get the saw and start cutting. Alright, so I'll just keep cutting, and then I'll try to take the pipe out. So the next step I did, I've got this water, and I filled it. I didn't fill it all the way up. There's one thing I do not like about this. They just went with a cardboard gasket. I'll wind up changing that out. I'll go to it's called a Vittel gasket. It's rated for biodiesel. It's food grade. I know it'll hold. I can get them at any hardware store, so I'm going to upgrade that gasket. So far I'm looking, and I have no water leaks. So the next step, I'm going to be taking it to the wood stove. I wanted to make sure this thing was working right before I went and fought it. So the next step, we're going to take it to the wood stove and start fighting that stovepipe again. Well, let's see if this thing fits. Fingers crossed. Alright, so the next thing I got to do, I got some telescoping pipe. I'm hoping that it'll work here. This is, since beating and banging on it, I'm not aligned to the stovepipe that's going out the roof, so I'm going to have to move the wood stove. I'll have to wiggle it around. Another trick I'll probably have to do is bring the wood stove out and bring it in to make the pipe fit up in there. So the next step, we're going to fight this pipe. Alright, so here's the next step. We've got this thing set. So couple things going on here. You need parts. when you're getting this stuff online, hopefully you got a good hardware store where you don't have to go online. This is one of these things you want to touch and feel. So I've got from here to here, I've got two sections of this that I'm going to seam together. They just connect. And then I've got these couplings. It'll go here. This gives me some wiggle room to adjust. But here's another thing that I'm using. This is just a connection piece. They don't make a telescoping flume this short. I'm tapped out. Telescope that if you're going to install a wood stove, that's the way to go. Just get a telescoping pipe, bring it down, seam it up, and you're done. I've taken that out by installing this. I don't have that luxury anymore. So this will be my telescoping piece. I can get this and slide it up and down to give me the wiggle room to install that pipe. So I want to walk you through the pieces. I call this an extension. They may have another name. I've got a coupling, another coupling, and then I'm going to try to reuse the old one. It's a little shorter. And then I've got two seam pipes. We're going to install those and then keep fighting this pipe. So here's one of the toys you'll need. It seems a little strange. You need a block of wood, another block of wood. That way you don't beat your stuff up in the hammer. You just don't want to be beating on this pipe. So get it. And little love taps. And slowly do this. Don't get mad at it. Take your time. If it don't fit, it don't fit. Alright, it's nice and even. I got a good seat by doing this, and it's just one of the tricks of the trade. So we got the pipe in there. I'm a little disappointed I couldn't show you me installing it. It was just one of these, it wasn't the easiest thing, but here's some tricks. I'm going to try to visualize this for you. First of all, I want to put this level down. So I want to talk about this level. This is critical. We've been beating and banging on this stovepipe where everything's out of plumb. If you have this pipe going at an angle, that's terrible. One, it looks bad. Two, I'm totally convinced that everything needs to be straight. Creosote will heat up and fall back down. You don't want it doing any run, especially on a slow draft. Creosote oil will build up. I'm very paranoid of a chimney fire. So I want it all to be evenly coated and that creosote oil coming back down to the fire and reigniting a little at a time and get it out of here. So critical mass, I'm going to make sure this thing's plumb. Another trick of the trade, one of the guys back when I was first learning, I actually did duct work before I became an electrician. When you're trying to get this pipe into this pipe and it's not wanting to go in, you need a claw hammer. And you don't use this end. This is a poor man's crimping tool. You could take this pipe in and out, crimp, 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 in and out, in and out. You need a crimping tool when you cut this pipe, but the poor man's crimp tool is I get this and I beat the corner. And I beat the corner while I'm pushing that pipe in. Don't go nuts because you don't want to be tearing the pipe up and you don't want a pocket that creosote can build up in. But if you gently nudge this going around that pipe, the pipe will fall in there. Trick of the trade. So the next thing, I'm going to be leveling this stove up. So this is something that's a must-have. So this is the next step. I'm really anal about using fire caulk. I had a really cheap wood stove at one time and it would just smolder. And then one night I heard this drip, 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 and it was creosote coming out of the pipe. I got rid of it where I got a wood stove that's a lot more efficient now. But I found out that DAP makes a better product and it's cheaper. It's like about half the price, but it's still a higher quality. It's fireplace rated. I'll go in every seam, I'll go here. Even this seam that got joined together, I'll caulk it up. And then I'll caulk here, 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 and here. Be warned, when you use this, when you build your next fire, open every window. Get rid of the smoke detectors, block them off because you're going to get some smoke. This does smoke off a little bit, but then it cures. Just be warned. So the next step, like I said, I'll go through here and caulk it up. And then I'll also use set screws to nail this down. And then I'll go right before that screw goes all the way in, I'll give it a little dab of fire caulk So I'm not going to bore you with using a caulk gun. I think that would be not very educational or entertaining. So, but anyway, that makes a good product, and this is what I use. So to wrap this video up, I want to walk you through just a couple more things that what's going on with this wood stove. So we got the pipe going up. So this is what I want to talk about. I've talked to a lot of people, hey, how'd you do your wood stove? And this gives me an eye twitch. A lot of people, so I went double wall all the way up. All the way up through the ceiling, up to the roof. Here's where you need to think about two different scenarios here. You go from the wood stove, single wall. When you hit that attic, you go double wall. And then when you go outside, you go double wall. And here's why. You want this to be single wall. The reason for that, you want this pipe to get as hot as it can get. The hotter it gets, the less creosote will be in that pipe. Then when it hits that ceiling, you go double wall for protection. You can't see it, but I've boxed this out. I painted all the 2x4s, got the insulation away from it. I've got it all painted. Then I lined it in sheet metal. Then I went with the double wall. Then I went outside and I've got stainless steel double wall out there. Now it's starting to cool off when it goes outside. And it's not in summertime when you're burning wood, it's in the winter. Condensation builds up. If you went with single wall, you get more creosote. For long, if this was double wall, you're going to get a lot of creosote build up. Before long, you're going to have a chimney fire. You do not want that. Single wall, double wall. So a couple more things. I've got these fans. They work off electricity generated by heat. You can thank NASA for this technology. More heat, faster these fans go. I've also got a thermometer here on my stovepipe. I went with single wall. I can watch the thermometer. I don't let it get over 400 to 450. Anything above that, I don't want it getting any hotter than that. I don't like it below 200. Below 200 is when we start barbecuing meat. Remember, we barbecue meat, you want smoke. I don't want smoke. I want a good, clean fire for this chimney. I clean this fireplace out twice a year. I go to the roof and I chase it. I've got a nylon brush and I clean that pipe out. This being an EPA stove, I don't have to do it as much. It's pretty nice. On the back, I've got a water tank. I'm not too happy with it. I got it was just a camping water tank that goes on a camping stove. It hasn't worked out that great. I get lukewarm water, but I don't get hot water because this thing's so insulated. This is going to take care of it. A little tidbit. Wait till these go on sale. I think they're very expensive. This thing I saw normally is $500. I'm not going to spend that kind of money. I got this for $200 and I think with shipping it for $215. To me, that's worth it. Now I've got a spigot. This even comes with a barb. I might even build a little stand here with some stainless steel hose, and I can just fill it up and not be in a bind when I fill it up. This holds 4.5 gallons of water. We use the carboy system, fill tank, use spigot, and take a shower. So now I've got easy hot water. Winter times when I need it the most, I'm up here hunting, camping. Just normally need it. Seems like we need more hot water. In the summertime, it's easier. I even got a solar oven that we use to heat hot water up. So this wraps this video up. I appreciate you watching. Please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe. Like I said, I'm trying to grow the channel, and it takes a thumbs up, it takes a subscribe, and it also takes a share. And it'd be really great if you double tap the icon where you get a notification. You'll get a instant pop-up that either by email, text, or however you set your YouTube channel up. And I appreciate you watching, and God bless. Thanks for watching.